Hello, everybody. This is Joethelawyer, and welcome to another edition of Analog Mancave. Today, I'm talking about wisdom, or intuition. I know it's been one of the key ability scores, one of the big six for all time, ever since D&D was invented. Right? You had to have wisdom in there, and it helped priests out, and that's why priests are wise and all that stuff for clerics or whatever it is, right? And it's been a staple of the game forever. Now, some of you know I've been working on my own. I ran my 2E game, and I promised no house rules. Just as Eric always busts my balls on his show, Eric Tankar saying, yeah, 19 pages of house rules later. So yeah, I decided after all that, I'm just going to make my own freaking RPG. So that's what I've been doing. I spent, hours and hours. I wrote up spell descriptions for like 115 druid spells on Sunday. So, I'm banging out stuff, man. It's coming eventually. I give it like a 5-year plan, like the old Russia, Soviet Union. But it'll happen. It'll happen. In any case, in my RPG, I am not having wisdom nor intuition or anything like that. And one of my players, Dwayne, asked me a while back, hey, how come no wisdom? What's going on? And I was like, let me just, I know why, but I haven't articulated it well. So I wrote him a long text. And I'm like, shit, man, it's the first time I've really articulated this thing in any way that made sense to somebody else. So I also got the makings of a good YouTube video. So I figured, let me just talk about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. All right. So I'll read some of this from the text and some I'll use as a prompt, but it's pretty much the main thing is that from a mechanical point of view, most people use wisdom for just a couple of things. Things like insight check, right? So the player can ask the DM to like, hey, can I make an insight check as to the situation to tell me if they're, are they lying? Are they're trying to deceive me? Are they truthful? Are they good? Are they bad? That's stupid. Figure it out yourself. I don't like insight checks at all. I don't like anything that pretty much says, hey, tell me the answer to the thing you just laid out. Why would I, as a DM who just laid out all kinds of stuff in front of you, just had a great 1-hour role-playing session, I'm in character, you're in character, the PCs are on character. It was a great, method acting kind of a thing, right? We're all just riffing off each other, having a good time. There's nothing more dejecting than when a player at the end of that says, I'm going to roll an insight check to see if all that was bullshit or not. Kiss my ass. Figure it out. You were there. Figure it out yourself. I tried to play in character. You tried to stay in character. Figure that stuff out, right? The other thing is that people use it for bonus spells for priests, right? Now, I use intelligence for bonus spells because the way I look at it, stuff stored in the brain, right? Whether in a wizard or a priest, it's just stuff stored in the brain, and that is brain power, mental capacity. So I look at it like that. That's essentially what you're looking for here is how much stuff can I have up there upstairs in the old noggin? If you're an idiot, if you got no brains, you're not going to be able to store a lot of stuff, right? You're not going to have a lot of knowledge. And I think spells are a form of knowledge, right? Memorized spells, prayed for, prepared spells is a form of knowledge. So I don't care about bonus spells for priests coming off of wisdom. The other thing, too, is that, priests in real life, they're not any wiser than you or I. They just have, my cynical take, most of them, the good ones, the better ones that have a bigger flock, they got the knack of bullshit, right? And they got like maybe the veneer of authority that the priesthood gives them. And so people think they're wise because they've given up this, given up that, sacrificed this, an ascetic life, the whole bit. And then they, memorize certain obscure passages of books written by, people thousands of years ago and just repeat them back to you, all profound and sounding wise and all that. That's not wisdom. That non-mechanically speaking, it's just usually used by players, like I said before, to tell me the right answer, Mr. DM. That's really what it comes down to. And which, again, figure it out yourself. It might be a trait in people that some people are wiser than others, right? And that usually comes from hard knocks for the most part. It's not too many people who are just coming out of the womb pretty wise. Usually, you got to go through life. You got to get beat up. Bottom line, you got to fuck up. You got to screw up left and right in order to be wise. You realize, hey, shit, this is not good. Here's what I learned. And then if you're like me, you try to maybe impart it to the younger folk, and then they ignore you. Friends, younger friends, kids, nephews, nieces, whatever it might be. And they say, hey, here's the thing, and they say, oh yeah, that makes sense, and then they go and do the exact freaking opposite, right? But it's just life. You got to learn on your own. Everybody learns at their own pace, right? So while it might be a trait in people, in an RPG, I look at it as a personality thing that the player of the character can choose for himself. If you want your PC to be wise, then role play your PC wisely. If you don't want him to be a wise person, he might be an idiot, always doing a dumbass shit, then role playing, making unwise decisions, right? Because then you got the dichotomy between what if my PC has a high wisdom, but the player is a freaking idiot and does dumbass shit, or vice versa, right? What if the player has a high wisdom, but the PC always making dumbass decisions because he has a low wisdom, right, on the character sheet? Then you have a mismatch, right? It's hard to bridge the gap there sometimes. So I look at it as just play it how you want to play. Intelligence I look at is logic and reason. All right. Intelligence, I think, is better for making decisions than wisdom or intuition or something like that. It's non. There's no passion involved, right? You're not getting all worked up. You're just looking at it like Mr. freaking Spock, right? Wisdom, intuition, that's gut instinct. It's fly by the seat of your pants. Usually, those decisions are made like in an information vacuum, or because you're so overwhelmed with either information or emotion, you don't apply your intelligence, or the person is just too stupid to actually do the work to research something and make the right decision. All right. So I think the better decisions are usually made because of intelligence. As long, and on the flip side too, dose with a little dose of love and compassion and understanding. Right. So you mix your intelligence with, love, compassion, understanding. You're going to make decent decisions, hopefully, most of the time. It's the best you can do. Right. But wisdom, no, that's just experience. And, I think that people generally don't like to do the work to research something or make the right decision because most people these days are lazy. Quite honestly, here's my get off my lawn kind of thing here. They either lazy or they just never develop critical reasoning skills, to make good decisions. That's where you get like uneducated idiots saying, you may have a doctorate from Harvard or Yale or something, but I'm street smart, which is just as good as your Yale doctorate. And I say you're wrong about some technical subject of which they know absolutely nothing about. All right. So that's just, and everybody knows those idiots, right? They just pride themselves on their ignorance, essentially, is what it comes down to. In D&D, if you want to flip it back to D&D, you could say, well, you don't have magic in the real world, right? Well, I beg to differ on some of that stuff, but in some level. But I think that, your mind creates a reality to a certain extent. But in D&D, you could say, well, that's my soul's connection to my God, so my wisdom or intuition flows from God. Therefore, it's not emotional, but divine inspiration. And again, that's just another way to say, I use my wisdom to ask my God to tell me a way to solve the situation in front of me. But again, it's just being used most of the time for bullshit. Just give me a quick answer because I don't want to role play it out. A lot of players out there, especially the new crop, they just want to click a button or roll the dice and solve all problems by a dice roll rather than role playing, immersion, figuring things out and just getting into the situation in front of them. That's just not fun. That's not the kind of thing I want to do. And it just in my personal campaign, the gods generally, they give no shits. They don't personally get involved in anything directly because of the whole cosmological thing. I use warlocks. They have more of a direct involvement with godly power, but that's limited as a pact type of thing. And I've modified that. It's not the same old warlock you're used to maybe in 5e or something. So the other thing too is what the god may think is good for you may not be what you think is good for you or good for the god. But it might be good for them in a way you don't even understand. Hence the old adage of, be careful what you wish for. And, that sort of thing. So that goes back to, again, wisdom, right? Who knows if you're interpreting the god's wishes correctly? You're always going to say you are because, you want to sound wise, right? So bottom line, I'm not going to let wisdom be in my game at all in any way, shape, or form. You're not going to have give me the answers. You're not going to, you're going to have to role play it. That's the bottom line. Role play it out. If your character's wise, then play him wise. If you want your character to be an idiot and make dumbass decisions, then play a character just like that, right? It goes back to an immersion thing for me, I think, and more of a role playing thing than a mechanical approach to the game. So in any case, that's pretty much what I wanted to say about this, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Please comment, like below, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I got more videos coming. I've been recording a bunch. I got a few more coming out this week. So hopefully you'll subscribe, catch them all, and let me know what you think. All right. Thank you all very much, and I'll talk to you soon.